2021 Motor Trend asked a simple question. Are you ready? The question referring to the electrification of our transportation. Chances are you've already seen the invasion. They're on your streets, parking lots, at every intersection. My duty as a resident car guy is to remind you of where our wheeled journey began. To tell the story, I need an expert, an auto historian, someone with 10W40 in their blood. Welcome, Sydney Hobbs, owner and curator of the Classic Car Museum of St. Augustine. Located on A1A just south of St. Augustine Shores, Sydney takes us from horse to horsepower. Tucked in a corner next to the car photography studio is the beginning of our journey.
This is an 1895 carriage, and if you bought this carriage in 1895, you were special. It's actually a clamshell, so if the leather wasn't so old and I could open it would open up like a Princess Di carriage with a clamshell. So it's a convertible carriage basically, but it's so sophisticated with the way this carriage was built, and it was a very high-end carriage. If you look at the leaf springs on this, a lot of the technology that they had in carriages, they didn't have a magazine to go look at our CAD design computer system. They went to what they had and they built cars from what they had. And a lot of the technology that came with these cars, the carriages, they put them into the cars of that day.
From horse to horsepower, can you believe this is an example from 1895? When a bicycle company and a carburetor company collaborate, the results: four-wheeled motorization.
So this is an 1895 Roche Snyder. Roche was a bicycle maker. Snyder was one of the founders of the Zenith carburetors. They got together and said, let's build cars. This is the only one I've found left. I'm sure there's some in museum somewhere, but this is the only one I've found. We bought it in Barcelona when we were over there on vacation. But the sophistication of this car going from a carriage to this is absolutely amazing. And some of the technology in this car is much more advanced than in Henry Ford's 1915 and 1920 cars.
Enter Henry Ford in the next wave of expansion. With so many people on the move, Ford built vehicles to accommodate the moving masses. Motorization of cars, carriages, and bicycles fueled America's spreading footprint in the 1900s.
So when he made the cars available to people at a reasonable rate, the average person could afford one, then what happened? People started traveling. There were no roads. They drove on the same roads that 1895 carriage drove on. But when they started traveling, they needed roads, so it built the interstate systems. Well, when they got away from home, further than the gas would take them, what'd they need? Petrol. So gas station industry bloomed, the rubber industry boomed, the hotel industry boomed, the diner industry boomed. But it all started because people were mobile and they had the freedom to move. And when they moved, it really built America when you think about it. The automobile built America because it gave people the freedom to move.
Skipping ahead a few years, we see Ford in motion. The Model Ts and Model As are a thing of the past, and Ford's V8 Flathead is born. Trucks and cars in the 1930s were not purchased to appease the need for speed. They were tools for transportation, tools to get people and products from the farm to the table. One notable letter, though, shows how much some depended on speed.
Bonnie and Clyde wrote Henry Ford a letter thanking him for coming out with the Flathead because with this engine in 1933, they outran all the cops.
And speaking of horsepower, some cars look fast, some cars are fast, and some have the looks and the ponies to prove it.
Everyone knows who Carroll Shelby was. Shelby built these cars because he wanted something that was extremely light, heavy horsepower that went fast. That's all this car is made for. It's made to go fast. No comfort, no creature comforts. It's made to go fast.
There's no way to cover all of the brands, the names, the innovations that have led us to where we are right now. We're on the cusp of getting more horsepower from smaller motors, getting more miles per gallon than ever before, and now we're seeing the future of battery-powered design. To cover all of that, we would need a lot more time. For you, though, it's easy to steep yourself in the classics, to come away smelling like Petroliana. Head to the Classic Car Museum of St. Augustine. To see what the same brands have to offer today, come to the Jacksonville Auto Show. You know where I'll be.